And back then, I realized that this is the opportunity for me, especially for the small business owners, which I'm working with basically, to give them the opportunity of having a good financial support that was at that point available only for the big players.
Today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun. You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's show is brought to you by Executive Help Now. And at Executive Help Now, we are your premier partner to private equity funds and portfolio companies delivering operational excellence through embedded virtual teams, cutting-edge technology, and deep industry expertise that scales with your ambition. From streamlining operations and managing your back office to producing podcast shows and keeping everything organized, our team is here to help you thrive. So if you're ready to make life just a little bit easier, hit us up at www.executivehelpnow.org. Y'all, let me tell you about today's guest. Her name is Anastasia Ristovska, and she is the founder of Books at Ease and Next Generation, two companies dedicated to simplifying accounting for businesses and empowering accountants in the U.S. market. With over 17 years of experience in finance, an MBA, and a background in leading international teams, she has helped digital businesses gain financial clarity, and she's trained more than 100 professionals in U.S. accounting and QuickBooks Online. Through her work, Anastasia combines expertise and mentorship to equip both business owners and accountants with the knowledge and tools needed for long-term success. Y'all, put your hands together for Anastasia Ristovska. Hi, Anastasia.
Hi, Renee. Thanks for the great introduction. It was so fun at the beginning. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure being today with you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. I know that you are in a whole nother part of the world, so I'm not even sure what time it is there. What time is it and where are you?
I'm in Europe, actually, at the moment, Macedonia, small country in Europe. So now it's 5 p.m. at our place. Not too bad, but not in the morning, like at your place.
Right, exactly. Well, hopefully we won't keep you from dinner.
No, not at all.
But Anastasia, I can't wait to learn more about you and your background and what inspired you to start Books at Ease and Next Generation.
Oh, that's awesome. So I started this journey 7 years ago when I basically entered the entrepreneurial world. But before that, I was working in the corporate world, working in many different companies where I was finance manager or at leading positions. And back then I had the opportunity basically to talk to many business owners. And what I realized at that point is one single pattern. No matter how big or small the company is, they need to find a reliable financial support. And back then, I realized that this is the opportunity for me, especially for the small business owners, which I'm working with basically, to give them the opportunity of having a good financial support that was at that point available only for the big players. And second, to see how the impact that you are making with your knowledge to the small business owners and how that impact is really big when it comes to their businesses. It was very rewarding for me. So that was some sort of inspiration to start my first company and then move to the second one.
Right, right. And so would you say that most of your new clients came out of your relationships that you had developed in corporate when you were working for someone else?
Not all of them. Basically, I've started with some, but then later on, everything was built on referrals, word of mouth, marketing campaigns, many sales campaigns that I've done. So yeah, it was a combination of both of them.
Got you. Got you. Yeah, were listening. I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they were talking about the importance of referrals and being a great referral partner and the relationships, how important the relationships are as you're building your business and that sort of thing. And so did Next Generation then come out of Books at Ease, or are they two completely different things?
They're two completely different things. First company was Next Generation, to be honest, when we've started working as a back office support for accounting companies from US. And that's how slowly it developed into a mentorship program where I was teaching accountants how to learn accounting skills, QuickBooks, and enter the US market. Initially, I started training for my company, and then it slowly evolved in a completely different business where Next Generation evolved into a mentoring platform. Books at Ease is something that came later on when I opened because I know now how I need to run my business. I'm kidding about this. And then second company was opened where we are focusing now on providing financial strategic support to digital businesses directly from US. So we are working with IT companies, SaaS companies, marketing agencies, coaches, everybody who is digital nowadays. So yeah.
Right.
That's the
Got
story.
you. All right, awesome. And so as you're helping people build financial fitness, what financial challenges do founders struggle with the most? What's been your experience?
Yeah, so it depends at what stage of their business they are, but one which are most common, no matter where they are, is first is they're either ignoring or leaving the numbers for later. Because as a business owner, when you're wearing a lot of hats and you need to do a lot of things, I don't know why, but I'm seeing this. People are leaving finances for a later stage. So now they're at the beginning, they're more focused on selling, building relationships, and so on. So numbers are left for later, which is a really big mistake because later on it comes problematic and you're seeing something that you don't want to see. Second thing is that the businesses are not having a clear plan of what they want to achieve in financial terms in the next quarter, maybe next year or 5 years, and so on. And most importantly, they're ignoring their cash flow because most of them are mixing the cash flow with the profit they're making, which is completely two different things. Cash flow is one thing, profit is second thing. And lastly, they're mixing the business and personal expenses, especially the smaller companies. When they're starting, they're mixing both things, and then later on, it's a big mess. Yeah, and what I've also found is that they're ignoring the burn rate, basically how fast they're spending their cash. And that is getting into more troubles when they start growing, when they need to make some investments, and so on. So these are the four common things that I've seen in most of the businesses that I've worked with.
Wow. And it all makes so much sense, because if you're not keeping track of what's coming in and you're ignoring the numbers, you don't know what's coming in, you don't know how much you're sending out, you're commingling funds between the business and between your personal and that sort of thing. And it's all going to cause problems later. And if you're ignoring it, it's like trying to put your head in the sand and think things are going to just go away. And you can't do that. As a business owner and as a portfolio company, your funders are wanting a return on their investment. And one of the ways that they track this is through your financial reporting. And so those numbers have to be accurate. They have to make sense. You have to know what they are in order for you to continue to appeal to a funder if you're looking for funding, or if you've been funded and they're looking for that return. So I'm glad that your company is here to help people recognize those pitfalls, and then to help them kind of like put it in their face, like, you can't ignore this anymore. You have to deal with this.
Yeah, that's great how you explained that, because normally when especially for technology companies or SaaS companies, most of them, even though they're started with the bootstrapping, later on they're seeking for investors. So if you don't set the proper system in place at the very beginning, then when you will be seeking for investors, it will be harder. So yeah, do your homework on time. That's my advice.
Yes. No more excuses. The dog ate my homework.
Yes.
You have to stay on top of it yourself. Absolutely. So how then do you actually help businesses turn their numbers into smart business decisions? How can they make really good business decisions based on their numbers?
Yeah. So first thing that is very important, and I'm advising every business that I'm working with, is have your strategy, but also have your short-term goals. When I say short-term goals, you need to have goals for the first quarter, second quarter, year, and so on. Because strategy is a broader picture. But what makes you successful or not is whether you're able to achieve your short-term goals. So first, have your goals in place. Second, which is very important, is monitor your cash flow constantly, because that way you would know whether you're able to achieve, to support basically financially your goals or not. Cash flow is a king. So if you have it, you can succeed. If you don't have it, you can easily bankrupt. And lastly, monitor your margins, especially your gross profit margin and your operational ratio. What is the percentage, with other words, of expenses compared to the revenue you're generating? Because that way you will know where you're spending, maybe you're overspending. And the most important thing, whether your spending support fulfillment of your first quarter goal or maybe second quarter, because this is the trap where most of the business owners fall in. They have the strategy, they have a general idea what they want to achieve, but they're focusing on everything at the same time. No, focus on smaller steps. Start with your first quarter, see whether your investments support your goals in your first quarter, and spend only on that. Later on, you will be focusing on something else. So that's my advice. And most importantly is this to be explained to the business owner on a simple way where they can understand basically the importance of doing this, because they're great in what they're doing. But when it comes to the financial literacy and making decisions related with numbers, I can say that I see a lot of examples where people are confused, lost, and they don't know what to do. So, yeah.
Oh gosh. Wow. What great advice. What absolutely fantastic advice. And it's so easy to implement. And for anyone who may be having a challenge or might not understand how to handle all of these things or this information, it's like they see the numbers are there, that they the numbers keep changing, but they may not know
Yeah.
exactly what to do about it or how one impacts the other. It's great that your company is there to help them navigate that entire situation so they don't have to feel like they're alone in this whole process.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about balancing business and growth, so say they've got a handle on the numbers, they know what's going on, they have a regular system of tracking and tracing what's coming in, managing them responsibly, they know what's going out, they've got great profit margins, they know all the things. And what is the best way, or what lessons have you learned about balancing growth and systems?
Yeah, that's a really great question because the biggest challenge happens in these two areas when you start growing, whether you have proper systems in place and or not, and how to balance between that. So first thing that you need to make sure that it's clear is capacity before demand. So I know that we as a business owners are always attracted to new opportunities, new deals, more sales, and so on. We want to do that because that's normal for every business owner.
Right.
But if you do not have the right capacity in-house to support that growth, then you're making a really big mistake because then you're entering in a trouble. Make sure you have capacity before you grow. Second thing, which you also mentioned, is have a proper system in place because when you start growing, you will need to hire some other employee or whatever. If you don't have a system in place, that hire will be terrible because you will now get into a situation when you need to support more clients, for example, and your hires are not equipped with the right systems, knowledge, whatever they need to have before enter into that relationship. And lastly, make sure that your prices charge for the value you're providing, not the hours you're giving to your clients, because this is also one of the biggest traps that I've seen with my clients. They're focusing on building on quantity instead of building on quality. And when you're building on quality, then you're able to price higher and to not be overloaded and to have a stable growth. Because if you're focusing on quantity, then you're getting into a machine that is melting you down and you cannot achieve what you want to achieve, basically.
Wow, I love that. I don't think anyone has ever talked about the difference between value and hours and how it makes more financial sense to create a value for your client as opposed to charging them a task like hour-based system. So I think that is really, really brilliant. And I love how you talked about having capacity before the demand comes in, so that when the demand comes in, you have done what you need to handle the increased volume. Because if you haven't built in that infrastructure to handle the increase in volume, then you're setting yourself up to fail. You are setting yourself up for a nightmare. So have you seen this in real life? Like, have you had an experience with a business who had to deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was that example when I started first my company. I was so excited of getting new clients, new deals, that I easily come overloaded. I felt burnout, stressed. I was underperforming because I was not able to do that properly. I took more than I could handle. And I learned that on my own skin. So that was me at the very beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. And of course, I'm seeing this every day with my clients. And that's why I've shared. It's okay. It's fantastic to be excited of getting more, but make sure you have proper system and capacity in place before you do that, because if you don't do that, you are harming your reputation. And nowadays it's really hard to build your reputation. So yeah.
And it doesn't take much to ruin it, especially with social media. It's like somebody has one bad experience and or they have one of your clients or customers or employees might be having a bad day, and then before you know it, your whole reputation is ruined because they've gone viral and people are now boycotting your business. I mean, we see that happen all the time here in the US. So
yeah, and people are normally, how to say, I don't know, they're naturally attracted to emphasize failures, which is, I don't know why, but that's some sort of human nature. When someone is making mistakes, failing, or people are noticing that very quickly, instead of like when you're succeeding in something. When you succeed in something, everybody thinks, okay, this is a process behind this, maybe experience, maybe it took some longer period of time to achieve this, but when you fail, it's immediately, and everybody sees that. So, yeah.
Wow. This has been so good. I know that people will want to know more about how to dig a little bit deeper, how to actually get ahead of this so that doesn't become their story. How do people continue to find out more information about you, who you are? How can they reach you?
Yeah, they can find me by visiting my website, which is www.booksatease.com, or they can visit my LinkedIn profile, Anastasia Ristovska, here I am, and to basically connect with me directly so I can help them with whatever I can.
Awesome. I love that. booksatease.com. You're on LinkedIn, and you'll accept connections from anyone and if someone has a question, can they just like send you a message in LinkedIn and like you'll give them advice?
Absolutely, yes. I love, first of all, I would love to be connected with people. That's what I enjoy. And of course, whenever I can help someone, whether with advice or maybe some suggestion, how they can think about certain problem, absolutely. So message me. You can even schedule with me a free consultation call, and we can go over your numbers and see what can be done.
Wow, that's so generous. That is really wonderful that you'll do that for people who just may want a second set of eyeballs on their numbers, just to kind of give them an understanding of what things are looking like and how things could be a little bit better, be different, or improve to help them reach their goals. So that
Absolutely.
is really fantastic. And that makes me think about the I believe it was the next generation that does the mentoring of the business. So tell me a little bit more about that, and how has that helped in your approach to leadership, working with people?
Yeah, working with people is something that is really rewarding and challenging at the same time. So Next Generation is basically a platform where we educate accountants, professional, everybody who is international and want to enter the US market as accountant, bookkeeper, and so on. But we are also providing support to the businesses. So what I've basically learned during these years working with people is to stay focused. To stay focused and make a difference of what is important and what is not, because distractions are happening all over the time, and it's really important for everybody to stay focused. Second is to listen more, because when you listen, you basically learn about the other opinion, about the other's experience, about the other feedback. And that helps you not only grow your business, but grow you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Third thing is to take ownership over your decisions, because and that was the first thing I've learned basically when I started my business. When I was working in the corporate world, owners, of course, you're making decisions and of course you're responsible. But now when you're a business owner, the decisions you're making are directly affecting your cash, are directly affecting your money. So you need to be responsible and to take serious ownership over your decision. And lastly, working with people, learn how to teach and share what you have. Because I believe that if your knowledge, and everybody in this world has its own unique skills, unique knowledge. If we share that knowledge, if we teach about what we know, we are not only helping others, we are helping ourselves. Because that way, as I said, we are becoming a better version of who we are. We're making an impact to other people's lives. So it's really rewarding and satisfactory.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I love it that when you learn something and you're able, first of all, you know you've learned it when you're able to teach it to somebody else. That's how you know, yes, I got this. I understand this. I can actually tell someone else about this particular situation or how to manage this scenario. And that not only reinforces that you have properly learned the lesson, but it reinforces it and helps edify you as you speak on it in more authority now, because you are able to repeat it to someone else to teach them how to do it as well. So I appreciate that, those tips to listen more, teach and share, and take ownership. Be responsible for the decisions. And it's much easier to take responsibility for small dollar decisions before you get big. And then those decisions have a greater impact because you're dealing with greater dollars. Right?
Yeah. And not only in monetary terms, but also in growing. Like when you make a decision and you take ownership of that, you're receiving the feedback from your decision. And you can see, okay, this was good decision or bad decision, but it helps you grow. And that's one of the most beautiful things that can happen to each business owner that has its own business, to grow, not only grow his or her business, but grow as a person.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. So Anastasia, as we get ready to wrap up, I know we've shared lots of really great tips and tricks and tools and resources that people have available. But if people don't remember a single thing, what is one financial habit that every founder should build on for long-term success?
One financial habit: monitor your cash flow regularly, because that way you will be able to make a good business. Otherwise, you're either broken or out of the game. So monitor your cash flow regularly.
I love that. What an absolute golden nugget for us to end the show on. Anastasia, this has been truly fantastic. You were made for something great. So go and be awesome.